All right, what's next?
Next up is Damien's attempt to subvert the entire process of thinking and throw as many curveballs as he can, fitting deeply, squarely
Oh,
in his, I'm going to pretend to be a contrarian, but I'm really, we're going to make an
here.
argument here. It's Ubisoft, the
Right, here we go.
sexual harassment engine that is Ubisoft. Now, please explain this pick.
Again, this is another one where I have a little bit of interest in these. First of all, I think all companies are sexual harassment engines. So
Agreed. That is
we
where I
talked about
agree.
this before, and I think like the only thing that actually changes the corporate world, and what does it really change? I hope it does. So I'm hoping these changes actually have an effect in the next decade. But the only thing that actually gets people to change is a scandal, sadly. So I'm hoping that Ubisoft has made internal changes that are it's actually going to affect the culture because that's what it takes. That it actually takes this level of crappiness. The other two reasons, of course, I'm a Francophile, so I wanted to pick a French
Oh
company
my
just to
God.
piss you two off, and
Here we go.
they have major headquarters in Montreal, and everyone knows I love Montreal, so screw you both. And the third reason is I just think I wanted to pick one video game company because we're, pandemic times, video games, come on, video games.
And you
What are you going
didn't
to
go with Activision Blizzard, which is the publicly traded one that we can buy. You went with Ubisoft that only
do?
trades in European markets. And number two,
Back up. So, in Robinhood, you can't buy a non-US company.
you can't buy Ubisoft. I can tell you that. They're listed,
You,
I think, in France only. So
Rob. All right, so
but let's back up anyway because this is fascinating to me. That your reasoning is because they went through a scandal, you're hoping that they change their
okay.
ways.
Yes.
And the board consists like 40% of the board are related to each other and they're the founders of the company. It's a bunch of brothers, all white dude brothers. You're
Right.
hoping that those guys change their ways because literally there has been almost no real fallout from the scandal. In fact, since October, they're up from trading. They were trading. They're up. Let's see. What's that? They're up about 6%. So when the scandal broke, when was that? Well, when did it happen? Over the summer?
June,
It was
May,
June.
June.
So actually, since June, you want to know
Yeah,
how much they're up?
sure.
They're up, let's see, no one cares because they're up 20% since June.
Right. Yeah. Well, a video gaming company. You're right. Nobody cares about the scandal.
Remind me exactly what their incentive to change their corporate culture is. When the stock is up 20%, they just released Assassin's Creed, a new Assassin's Creed, which is one of the biggest sellers of all time. It's supposed to be a great game, and there was no actual ramifications to all of their
Well, you're
issues.
right. You're right about everything you just said. I'm just hopeful that the new people they brought in will have an actual effect on the corporate culture because they brought in people who are supposedly, experts in, inclusion and diversity and all this stuff. So I'm just hopeful that these people will finally get some adults to manage them. That's it.
So
I
does
got
that
Anybody?
mean that like they're gonna hire one person of color to be their chief
Yes.
no.
of diversity, and that's gonna be their token
It
person of color on their
Yeah,
board?
it may mean that. I mean, I'd have to dig deeper. You're right. You're right. It could all be a token fix. Again, I'm starting with the premise that all these corporations are shit, and that this one has some hope for some actual change because it sounded like the workers were pissed. They got some new people in. Maybe they'll have a backbone now and they'll speak up for things. That's all. That's all. That's all I got.
So, a valued listener, a valued watcher, this is called the Hopi Changey Investment Hour.
This is
And
all. This is the only way I do investing is Hopi change.
hell
You
no,
can't
we're not
describe
investing on Hopi Change. We're skipping Ubisoft for a bajillion reasons.